Okay, so my name is Clee with the Autism in the African diaspora. And so I'm just here trying to help our community. So we're helping our community. So there's a couple of things that I went over in my last couple of videos that I wanted to be able to show. So I pulled out a couple of things that I used with my daughter when I was trying to begin to help her. So when they thought she had childhood apraxia, we practiced our vowels so that she could get a little bit more practice with them. And as I said before, we used the Old MacDonald had a farm, but it was like Old MacDonald had some vowels. And so it's like, Old MacDonald had some vowels. A-E-I-O-U. And so I got this paper, which I'll show. And then after we got the paper, we after we got the paper, we went ahead and what is this? Colored them in. So I, of course, helped her color these in because she was 2 at the time. So I helped her color these in, or well, she colored some, and these were the ones I colored. I think that's what it was. She colored some, I colored these, and then I made sure to make the mouth red because that's how she was supposed to form her lips. So A, and then the turtle holds his hands up like this, A. And so you do that every time you say A, and then we had E. And we got this from our speech pathologist at the time, E, E. And so this is supposed to demonstrate almost like what they're supposed to do because their lips are supposed to go out. You go E and you point your arms out like that. E. Okay, that's E. And then we have I. So we go, you put one arm up and one arm down and go I. Okay, and then we go O and we make a big O. O. And you make an O with your lips. O. And then we go U. And so what is she doing with the U? I think we just went like this. We held our hands out. U, So we did that every time we did A, E, I, O, U, And so we exaggerated. We looked in the mirror. We did all of those things so she can learn to formulate her mouth because they thought maybe the brain wasn't connecting well with the mouth movements. And so we just kind of really worked on those exaggerated sounds. I'm sorry, guys, about my allergies, having some allergy issues, but it is what it is. Still trying to share information, helping our community. Yes. Okay, so that's what we did with the turtles. And so I have the original form here. Now, I don't know if that's showing up backwards or not. It probably is showing up backwards. That's my assumption. But if it's, I don't know exactly where she got this for me. It says Easy does it for Apraxia Preschool. Copyright 1994. Lingu Systems or something like that, Inc. So she got it out of a booklet. So, so what we don't want to do, if this is showing up backwards, then yeah, of course you don't do this. If it's showing up forwards, don't screenshot it, print it, and color it and use it for your child. We're not going to do that because it's copyrighted and we don't do that. So don't do that. But if you can't find it, don't do that. But you can always try to look for it. But yeah, don't. So now I used that. We did that and we sang our song, Old MacDonald had some vowels. And we did A, E, I, O, U, U. And on his farm he had a, and we go A. A-E-I-O-U with it, and then we go really in A here and A there, here A there, A everywhere, A, so that she could really get these sounds. So we did that with that, and we went through all those letters, all the vowels, and we just did long vowels because the vowels are a big part of talking, and they take up most of all language. So when you start getting those vowels, it's like the beginning of getting that language going. So that was one. Also, with the childhood apraxia, I made a game. She did not end up having childhood apraxia. As you guys know, she lives with autism, and that was her diagnosis. But this was to help those muscles when they didn't know exactly what was going on. So I had different games that I made. So, and as we went on, I made them bigger and bigger. So, just toilet paper rolls, and I taped them together, and we used these little balls, and then we would put the ball on here, set it on the table, put the ball on here, and then she would blow until the ball came out the other end, and like, woo, yay, yay, woo, and we would celebrate. And so this here is to help the muscles, like her be able to formulate her muscles, being able to use those muscles. We did a lot of things as far as that, which I did not get all of those things, but whatever instruments, there were wind instruments where you could also harmonica or something like that. You're utilizing these muscles so that the muscles get more, so that the muscles in the brain can get a little bit more activity together and being able to listen to one another. The muscles respond to what the brain is telling it to do, and more practice. So it's just practice. So this was one that I made. I made another one here, same thing, just blow it out the back. And then I made one kind of like this where she could see the ball. So you can't see that very well. But we would lay this down so she could see the ball, because oftentimes when she first started, the ball did not go very far. So we would, I made only one at a time. And as we started playing more, it got a little bit more, I added more pieces, but we would just kind of put the ball in here, and then I would blow, or she would blow. And if it ended up in the middle like this, she could keep blowing and then keep blowing until it came out the end. So that was helpful to get her through those beginning stages. And then we could finally do the closed one, which meant that she had a really good blow by then, and she was doing a really good job. She was not blowing. She was like, and you don't get much wind out of that. So she had to learn how to position her mouth well so she could start blowing. So it's just utilizing those mouth muscles even before you start talking. So those were some of the beginning things that we did. And then after that, when she really started talking, and she was reading, this is when they were like, wow, she read that, because we wrote out this. She was jumping in the trampoline, and we wrote it out. I don't know. Yeah, you can see it. It says, I want blank, please. And so we put a picture of something that she wanted. And this is after she started reading, so she was still saying more words. She wasn't saying for apple anymore. She was saying apple or apple, whatever she was saying. It was close. So it would be like, I want, and then a picture of an apple, please, so that she would say, I want apple, please. And so she was standing in her trampoline. We wrote it out, and we held it up, and she was like, I want blah, 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 please. And it was like, oh yeah, she read that. So that was so easy. That was something easy to get her to start asking for things. And so one thing I would say, if you're starting, one thing you could do instead of making it a full sentence, because a full sentence can be very overwhelming. My kids are back in there playing, so if they're making some noise, it is what it is. But you would say, blank, please, blank, please. So jump, please, chips, please, Cheerios, please, eggs, please, whatever, please, right? And then you can put on I want, or you can even put want eggs, please, want Cheerios, please, want snacks, please, want jump, please. So it doesn't have to be perfect, but it's getting them to ask for things, and then putting the I on last. And so and then after that, I moved on to, she doesn't say I want blah, please. She says, may I have blank, please, because that's the way I want her to ask for something. I want her to be kind. I want her to be polite. I want her to be able to respect those, or for those around her to feel respected. And so that's how I accomplish that. So I will slowly move on to more complex sentences as she is doing better. But the end goal for me was, may I have blank, please. Okay, so this next one. She loved brown bear, brown bear. And so I'm kneeling, so excuse me. I'm trying to make sure y'all can see me. So since she loved brown bear, we utilized that because it was something that she enjoyed. So like I said before, always use your strengths to strengthen the weaknesses. And so that's this. Marva, Marva, what do you see? I see a blank looking at me. And so whatever we wanted her to practice, that's what we put there. Anything in her environment. I took tons of pictures, and you see all of this is laminated. Laminated all of those pictures, cut them out, blah blah blah. Pictures of everything. The trampoline, the toys, the fruits, the hold on. Okay, but thank you. So so yeah. Yeah, so I cut everything out, took pictures of. Okay, guys, can you go back and play? Go play. I'm gonna be done in a minute. No, I'll be back. Okay, so I'm gonna finish. Um, okay, so here again, Marva, Marva, what do you see? I see a blank looking at me. And so here you could take pictures of everything and laminate everything in their little lives, from plants to things in your bedrooms to their toys. Their little bananas and plums and grapes and dolls and balls and ball pits and trampolines and everything. Things in the bathroom, the toilet, the bathtub, the faucet, the everything, the things in the kitchen, the stove, the refrigerator. Take pictures and laminate spoon, fork, knives, dishes, bowls, everything, so that they can learn how to talk about those things. They can learn the names of those things, what to call them. They'll know what you want when you're looking at them. They'll know how to express it out of their own mouths. Even if they are receptive and they understand what you're saying, then they'll learn how to say it themselves on command when you do something similar to this. So I took her strengths to strengthen her weaknesses. She loved reading. She loved brown bear, brown bear. All those things, absolutely wonderful, great for her, and they really helped her be excited about doing the work and do the work. So think outside the box. What does your child love? How can you bring that in to help them learn to say and talk about the things that you desire for them to say and talk about? Those are the things you have to think about. Also, lastly, I have tons and tons of note cards galore, because we use note cards to help her learn how to express her own thoughts and understanding. So a lot of her thoughts and understanding began, and there's more note cards than this, but they all began with, I probably have the same amount of note cards somewhere else, but they all began with giving her, constructing things in her mind and how to say them. And then eventually, after she's scripted, and they're very scripted sayings, but after they become scripted, she has a library to pull from, a library of knowledge. And you take that library and then she can manipulate it and change it and move it into her own thoughts. And so an example of that would be this. What do you do with a fork? And we taught her, eat food. You eat food with a fork. So you eat food. That would be her response. What do you do with a fork? Eat food. Now I held the same card to her yesterday. What do you do with a fork? And this was just out of fun. She doesn't do this anymore. Well, not this particular thing. We still use note cards, but not these particular ones. She's past these. But what do you do with a fork? And she said, you eat with a fork. You use a fork to eat. I think that's what she said. You use a fork to eat. Or she might say, you eat with a fork. Either way, it was a complete sentence. It was more complex than the sentence that we taught her. And so that shows that once she was given her library of knowledge, she was able to expound on that and create her own thoughts, her own understanding, and be able to regurgitate that out of her mouth. And it's not always in the best grammar. Just like any child her age, they don't always use the best grammar. You have some children who speak very well, and then you have other children who speak with a little bit of broken grammar, and she's more one of those children. So at her age range, there's a couple of different understandings. You have some that are very advanced and some that are right there in the average and some that are a little bit below. I do believe the last time she was evaluated, she was right at average at her expression on the lower part of average, at her as far as her reception, she was on the higher part of average. So that to me is great. That means that gap is closed. We just have to continue to make progress and move forward in that area. But these note cards were a great addition to that. We taught her things like pronouns here, like whose shoes, their shoes, your shoes, my shoes, his shoes, her shoes, and so tell me some yellow fruit. And then she would have to name the types of yellow fruits. Can you please go sit in your chair? Okay, I'll get you some more. Make sure you sit in your chair. And so we had lots of different things. You go to the potty before I take a nap. And just all sorts and types of things. So I want to be able to go through these note cards. So I'll probably, and we won't go through all of them, but just a little bit more so you have ideas of what types of things you can do if your child might be a star with note cards. Or also maybe it gives you a better idea how to think outside of the box for your child. As you see, my children are having a hard time. But I want to be able to give more knowledge so we can help the community. This here that I am making is not just for everyone to listen to me, but I'm trying to develop a community so that we can all be there for each other. And I would love if y'all all became a part of my community with my crying children in the background, or at least my one crying child. If you hear crying, most likely it's probably him. But yeah, so I want to make it a community where we can all share. So I welcome you to leave your comments and to be able to share your experiences or ask questions so that we can all kind of be there for each other, because it's not one way that works. It's not just my way, and I can get ideas from you guys as well. Y'all can share, so we can share things with one another. So because I'm here so that we can create a community, so that we can do this together. It's not just about me and my child and me helping you, but also you helping me. And so I look forward to communicate with you guys. And either way, thanks for listening, and thanks for sticking with me. Okay, bye-bye.